So welcome to another Games I've Been Playing episode, and what a year this is. This year will go down in history as a crazy year for gaming. I mean, there's so many big titles coming out, and I'm going to talk about some of the ones that I finished, some of the ones I've been playing, and I'll ask you guys, what are you playing? Let me know down below. Are you playing something brand new, something old, something in between? Let us all know, absolutely. And for me, I got 3 games to talk about. Yes, I do. The Resident Evil 4 Remake, which I finished. I want to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the Final Fantasy Pixel Remasters has come to consoles, and I've been playing it. I've been trying them all out, and I'll give my thoughts on that for sure. And also, the long-awaited, delayed Advance Wars 1 and 2 reboot. I finally got to try that out as well. And so, yeah, let's get into it. Let's start with Resident Evil 4 Remake. This is a really big thing for me because I played the original one on the GameCube when it first came out. Like many of you, I was so hyped for the game. I played it. It was difficult, but I loved it, and it went down as one of those games, a classic for all time. That is for sure. But I got something to admit. I have never played it ever again. I know a lot of you have played on PS4, different remasters of it over the years, but for me, I only played the GameCube version, and I would go into my save file and get some stuff from later on in the game if I ever had to show it in an episode and all of that. So my relationship with this game is very fascinating going into the remake. I was playing the remake, and I can say this, there was entire sections that I did not remember. Those entire sections that I remembered differently. The entire ending of the game, in my mind, was completely different from my memory. Isn't it so funny how you remember something? You're like, oh, I remember the end of this game, and it wasn't that. In my memories was that you're running up like a big cliff and you're fighting all the cultists over and over and over again, and it got more difficult. That's my memory, and it's not the same. It's not the same. I don't think that they changed that for anybody who's a purist of Resident Evil 4. I think that I'm playing the original game the way it was, and my memory is wrong. That's for sure. But I want to say something about this remake. It is unbelievable. I was genuinely sad when the credits rolled, and I didn't want it to end. I was like, no, this was such a great game. And I'm kind of glad that I didn't remember a lot of it. It was like a new game for me, a new Resident Evil game going in. Some of the things that I definitely remembered that I didn't want to do again, and I still dislike all these years later, is the escort missions with Ashley. Those are not my favorite things in the game. It's kind of cool that they work together at times and stuff like that in kind of a Last of Us capacity, but I never really enjoyed it. She's always screaming, always getting me into some mayhem and getting me killed or something. Frustrating. I don't like escort missions in any game. I hate them. I've never enjoyed those. I just want to play as the main character and do that. That is it. The one thing I do want to say as well is that I did notice, and I want you guys to tell me down in the comments below, they changed the voice of the merchant, what he says. I remember in the original, he'd be like, what are you buying? What are you selling? And that's not there. Is it like some DLC you have to buy or something? Unless I missed it, which I didn't, because I finished the game, and I'm like, every time I went to the merchant, I kept waiting for him to say that, and he never did. And I was like, oh, that's like so Resident Evil 4. I was so sad that wasn't there. And so that was a bit of a disappointment there, but what a ride this game is. For anybody who hasn't played Resident Evil 4 in any capacity, I'm gonna say it, just buy the game. Buy the game, you'll have a great time. It's a heck of a journey, and yeah, I got a good like 20 hours out of it, and obviously there's multiple difficulties to do it on and stuff like that. And I also want to give a big shout out to my friend Hanzo, who does all of the artwork on the show. He works at Capcom. Yeah, he's living in Japan, working at Capcom, and he worked on Resident Evil 4. He did the Leon Kennedy redesign. He did that. He designed that. And that's incredible for me because Hans is a really good friend of mine, and when he was in Vancouver living here, he was here every day. We'd be watching anime and all that kind of stuff, playing video games all the time. And also, we're very, very close friends in that regard. So it was very cool playing the game going, man, I can't believe Hanzo did so much of this, and so big props to him for sure. And what a ride. Resident Evil 4 Remake, big thumbs up. Game of the year, one of my games of the year. It's up there right now. There's still a lot of games coming out for the rest of the year. Okay, we're gonna get into the bit that's so exciting, and something that a lot of you out there have been playing for so long, and I've been so jealous, and that is the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters. You were playing on PC for a lot of you out there, and I just kept waiting, going, when is this coming out for console? When is it coming out for console? Because quite literally, we started on console, and then we went to PC for this, and then we come to console again. And I've just been waiting. I've just going, where's the console release? I must say, I love it that they released all 6 in one package. I like that. Yes, I tried to get the copy online from Square Enix from their store because I wanted a physical copy, but that's like delayed. I think the pre-orders for that kind of came and went, so I got a copy of Play Asia. So I ordered the Switch version. So I've been playing the PS4 version of this game, and what can I say? Being a purist of Final Fantasy, I played the very first Final Fantasy on the NES. The week it came out, like it's nearly 30 years ago. So for me to play these remasters it's like tears in my eyes, man. I mean, I went through all of them. I'll say my favorites in the series from 1 to 6. It's definitely 1. It's definitely 4, 5, and 6. Those ones are a treasure. I'm not taking away from 2 and 3. They're very good as well. But I got such good memories when they were released here in North America. 5 didn't, and then we finally got 5 on Game Boy Advance, which I love. I'll get back to that in a little bit. What is so good about these games? I like these games because I grew up with them. It's from my time, and they've been given a really great treatment. And I like it that younger people can come in now and say, hey, like I want to play the older games. Where can I play them? Before it'd be emulators, it'd be things over here and there. Now you can get it one package, and you can play them all on PC or on console. I don't care what you play it on. You got to play these because they're really, really great. And they honor the original game so well. I was playing Final Fantasy VI, and I was like, yeah, this looks exactly like the original, but updated at certain times and all of that. There's some things about this collection that I don't like, but I can say mostly I do. Mostly I do. The cool thing is, and this is the cool thing, you can turn up the experience points and the money that you get in this game. You can times it up by 4. So, like, if you defeat an enemy, say you get, like, 10 experience points, now you'll get 40 experience points, right? So you'll level up faster if you want to play that way, or you can be a purist and play it the original way. For me, I'm cranking it up, man, and I'm getting more money. I can buy the best weapons right away. It's amazing to do that. I was playing Final Fantasy 1. I'll say this about this collection. You start playing it and you crank all that stuff up. All of a sudden, you can't stop playing. You're like, oh, I can get to this area real quick. In 1 hour, I did so much. And it felt so fulfilling. And so I recommend those settings. There's also some settings where you can set it to the original music or rearrange music. Here's my take on that. Purist again. I love the original music. You try to let me listen to the Super Nintendo, Super Famicom music of 4, an arranged version of it. It's okay, I like it. But man, nothing beats the original. And even Kim, my wife, came in the other room, and I was playing Final Fantasy 1, and she's like, oh, it's a really catchy tune. And I said, oh, okay. I said, yeah, we can play the original. Oh, sorry, the arranged version. And I played the arranged version for her, and she's like, yeah, it's not as good as the original. I'm like, yeah. And sometimes you just can't beat the originals. There are some things that I don't particularly love, like the filter system to make it look like a CRT TV. It doesn't feel right. You'll switch it on, it gives you all the lines, and it just looks blurry. And let me say, as somebody who played the games back then, on original televisions back then, it never looked that bad. So I don't know what the heck is going on with that. And the good thing is, that's just something that you can turn on or off. It's not a big deal. It doesn't affect everything by any means. It's just an option. You can turn the encounters on or off. This was really good because there was one point in Final Fantasy 1 I was playing and I'm like, where am I going? What am I doing? I don't remember what I'm doing. And then I'm like, oh, you know what? And I kept getting encounters. It was like screwing me up. I'm like, and I just turned the encounters off. Go click, and I just could run to where I got to. Then I could get into some cave or something like that and just fight hardcore, and then get real experience that way. So I really like that fact. Also, the one thing I turned off right away was the lettering. It's too smooth and too PC for me. It looks too perfect, and I don't particularly love that. So I switch it back to pixel. So you can do that. So you can turn all the text back to kind of like pixely kind of text, which it feels fitting. I feel at home with that. And you can turn up the battle speed. That's something I obviously did as well. And man, I can say last night I was up late and I couldn't put the controller down. My wife goes to bed, and I'm just like playing Final Fantasy 1. And I just kept going and going and going. But even early in the day, I was playing Final Fantasy 5, and I'm like, that's one of my favorites too. When I played that on the Game Boy, Advance, what I did back in the day, I played it on the Game Boy Advance player on the GameCube to play it on the TV. And that's how I played this game here. And so I fell in love with Final Fantasy V there. And it was just magic, man. Just magic playing that again last night. The job system is so cool and all of that. But Final Fantasy VI as well. I was having so many emotional moments. Like here's my last thing I'm going to say about the Pixel Remasters. I was sitting there last night and I was playing Final Fantasy VI. And I got to one piece of music. And it hit me so hard that I put the controller down. I just had to take a moment, and I got like emotional. I wasn't like crying or there's no tears, but I felt welled up, man. I was like, do you know what it hit me was? I was like, I'm playing this amazing remaster of a game from my childhood, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh, this music. Oh yeah, I was 20 when this music, when this game came out, and this music, and I was remembering everything in my life at that time, and then I was like, it's 29 years later. And it just totally hit me. And it was such an intense little moment. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so surreal to be playing video games and have them mark your life as you go through. And I think sometimes video games do that. That's what Final Fantasy VI does. The game is incredible back then, but I also remember everything that was going on in my life back then by the music of Final Fantasy VI. I mean, I've always loved video game music, so it really, cements the time for me. And last night hit me. I was like, oh my God, And that was actually just before I went to bed. I was listening to that. I'm like, that's crazy. Absolutely. So, okay, that is that. I highly recommend the Pixel Remasters because when you think about it this way, just say, I'm just going to pick the Switch, for instance. And it's PC as well, but all that. But for a collector or for a new person getting in, you can play, I'm just going to say the Switch version, 1 to 6 on a cart, right? Which is cool. And then you can play 7 and 8, which you can import, which I did. And then there's 9 available as well. And then 10. And then, obviously 12. We're getting all of them. It's really amazing that all the Final Fantasies are kind of getting linked together in a way, and I really kind of think that's fascinating. But anyways, we got to continue on to the final game, and I cannot believe it finally came out. Delayed and delayed and delayed because of many reasons going on in the world, but we finally got Advance Wars. It's come back. It's come back, and I just want to say this is a beloved game of mine. I mean, what do you guys think of Advance Wars? Are you excited about getting this reboot of 1 and 2? Let me know down below. I'm a huge fan. Look at this. I had to dig all of these up. Here's Advance Wars here, the original one on Game Boy Advance, and here's my other one here, number 2, and then Days of Ruin going on, and then Dual Strike. These games, I mean, if you're a strategy fan, an old school strategy fan, you'll have played Advance Wars, I think. I think you would have. And I think what I like about Advance Wars, I played many strategy games over the years, but when that was first announced for Game Boy Advance and I saw the graphics of it, I was like, it's so accessible and it's kind of like cartoony, and it just makes you feel at home, and it gives me a big smile to see the graphics and the character designs. I mean, I just look at the original right here, and I'm just like, who doesn't want to play this game? How is this new one? It's being given a graphical, brand new look, and it suits it. And I think it really needed an update after all of these years. And I liked the original games, and I think they look beautiful. I love the original pixel artwork. I think these have been given kind of a beautiful, kind of anime aesthetic, modern day look, where everything's kind of got this kind of like plasticky kind of look, but the cutscenes look really nice, the characters and all of that. And this is one that I'm going to spend a bit more time playing, but so far, I'm thinking it's fantastic, and I'm so happy finally it has come out for Nintendo Switch, because it's been so long coming, and it's just so nice to jump back in, and it's very accessible. It's one of those things that will take you by the hand, and you can learn how to play a strategy game if you've never played a strategy game. I know there's a lot of you out there like, I don't like strategy games. And I used to be like that too, until all of a sudden I start to play them. And I think Advance Wars is a very good place to jump in for the very first time and to learn these kind of mechanics and how you do, how you play the game. Because all of a sudden, when you start winning your battles, and you start doing your strategies, it feels good. It gives you that Fire Emblem feeling when you finish a level. You're like, I did that by using my troops in the best possible way. And you feel a sense of accomplishment, and that's something you get with strategy games that sometimes you don't get in other genres. And so a high recommendation for Advance Wars. It's going to be my very small game of the year there. Yes, it's no Resident Evil 4 remake, and nor does it have to be. It's doing exactly what it needs to for its own type of game, and high recommendation for that. So here we go, guys. These are all the things that I've been playing. I've been having a really good time, and there's a lot to come, isn't there? Oh my God. We got Final Fantasy 16. We got Zelda. Tears of the Kingdom is coming out. It's like, we even have Street Fighter 6 coming out this year. What is going on in 2023? It's too much, isn't it? It's too much. I'm not complaining, though. I think it's really cool. So tell me, what are you guys playing? Let me know down below. So anyways, guys, until next time.